Y News. The Philippine National Police formed a special investigation task group to probe the killing of Tanawan Mayor Antonio Halili. The Department of Health records 60% increase in leptospirosis cases in the National Capital Region. And MMDA to ban provincial buses from flying major areas in EDSA during rush hours beginning July 16. Y News begins now.
From the UNTV News and Rescue Command Center in Quezon City, this is Y News.
Good evening. Controversial Tanawan, Batangas Mayor Antonio Halili was shot dead during a flag ceremony this morning. Police say the bullet that hit Halili could have come from a sniper. Jun Soriao tells us why.
Tanawan Mayor Antonio Halili of Batangas was gunned down during a flag-raising ceremony in the City Hall this morning. A video from the local information office showed Halili and other officials singing the national anthem when a gunshot rang out, causing people to panic and scream. Sangguniang Kabataan Chairman Reds Carandang says he saw when Halili fell down after a bullet hit his chest.
May narinig pa pong putok, tapos sabay natumba na po si Mayor. And then within mga 5 seconds lang, ang dami ng putok, kaya nagtakbuhan na kami.
Halili was declared dead on arrival at the CP Reyes Hospital. According to the police, the bullet that killed the mayor could have come from a sniper.
Nang bala ay nanggaling sa malayong lugar, hindi dito sa loob ng compound ng Tanawan City. Yung pong pinagpwestuhan ng sinasabing sniper, inimbestigan pa rin po yan.
Halili previously revealed he was receiving death threats over his campaign against crime and illegal drugs.
Any threat naman must be taken seriously. Hindi mo naman pwedeng ipagsantabi ang ganyang mga threat eh. Kasi baka mamaya ay totoo. Pwedeng hindi totoo. Okay sana kung hindi totoo. Paano kung totoo? So, you'll be caught with your pants down.
Halili made headlines in 2016 when he paraded suspected criminals in the public. He, however, made the list of high-value drug targets of the police, though he denied links to narcotics. He lost supervision over the police in 2017, along with other officials tagged as narco-politicians. Jun Suriao, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Philippine National Police formed a special investigation task group to probe Mayor Halili's death. Investigators will also look into the official's activities and his shame campaign. Leia Ilagan tells us why.
The Philippine National Police have created a special team tasked to investigate the killing of Tanawan Mayor Antonio Halili. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde says the group will look into the possible link of his controversial Walk of Shame campaign to his demise.
Remember, si Mayor, no, very marami ring sigurong napahiya, nasaktan dun sa ginagawa niyang Walk of Shame kasi sa kanya madalas naging very controversial yan, yung Walk of Shame niya.
They will also probe the slain official's activities following his inclusion to the list of politicians allegedly doubling in the narcotics trade. Aside from Halili, the list also include former La Union Congressman Eufranio Erigel and the Anbantayan Cebu Mayor Vicente Loot. Erigel was shot dead while attending a meeting de Avance in May 12, while Loot survived an ambush attempt in May 13. Malacanang meanwhile condemns the killing of Halili, vowing to bring to justice Halili's assailants.
Kami po'y nakikiramay sa pamilya ng Tanawan Mayor Antonio Halili. Nangangako po ang palasyo na bibigyan ng katarungan ng kanyang pagkamatay, magkakaroon po ng mabilisang investigasyon at paglilitis dun sa mga tao na responsable sa pagpatay nito.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The Department of Health is calling on the local government units to strictly implement proper waste disposal amid rising cases of leptospirosis in Metro Manila. Let's find out why from Aiko Miguel.
The Department of Health expresses alarm over the increasing number of Filipinos infected with leptospirosis. Data from the DOH show that 234 cases with 38 deaths have been recorded in the National Capital Region from January 1 to July 1, 2018. This is 60% higher than the same period in 2017. Quezon City reported the highest number of cases, followed by Manila, Taguig, Caloocan, and Parañaque. 36 of the victims are confined at the San Lazaro Hospital, including 10-year-old Jillian Vicente. According to his father, Jillian had an open wound on his foot when he waded through the flood on his way home from school, so he contracted the disease.
Nilagnat po siya, nilagnat. Tapos namula po yung mata niya. Nagsuka po. Tuwing kakain siya, sinusukan niya lang.
DOH warns leptospirosis could be fatal if left untreated.
This is a multi-organ involvement type of infectious disease. Ano po? Kanya huwag po natin antayin umabot sa komplikasyon. Mahirapan po tayong salbahin ang sinuman na umabot sa malubhang komplikasyon.
The agency also appeals to the local authorities to strictly implement the proper waste disposal system to prevent leptospirosis and other diseases. DOH says rats and other leptospira bacteria-carrying animals could breed in trash-clogged waterways.
At night or early morning, this is the time the rats, sewer rats, yung mga asa, mga immornal na nakatirang mga daga, maglalabasan. At dyan, mag-iihi ang mga yan at magiging source ito ng infection dahil makakontaminate ng ihi ng mga infected rats ang tubig, baha.
The agency also reminds public to avoid wading through floods and immediately seek medical consultation when symptoms manifest, like fever, eye redness, fatigue, and skin discoloration, among others. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
A group of employers thumbs down a new wage hike petition filed by the employees. Ray Palayo tells us why.
The Employers Confederation of the Philippines is pessimistic on the 320 pesos wage hike petition of the Trade Union Congress of the Philippines. ECO President Sergio Ortiz says an increase on minimum wage may result to retrenchment of some company, and affected employees might opt to just be with informal workers like drivers and vendors. He notes they have no option but to add additional wage to their product's price.
Ang isang dapat na maintindihan ng mga tao, ang mga minimum wage earner natin, 7% lang ng 42 billion na nasa labor force. So, tigtataasan mo yung 7%, yung 93% may iwanan. Sino ba yung 93%? Nandiyan na yung unemployed.
But ALO TUCP spokesperson Alan Tanhusay insists the train law severely affects the buying capacity of minimum wage earners. It is worsened by the effect of the peso-dollar exchange rate and profiteering.
Determine kasi namin na mayroong extraordinary na pagtaas ng mga presyo ng bilihin at kakaibang pagtaas ng mga halaga ng mga serbisyo.
Rolly is one of those who are pushing for the minimum wage increase. He and his wife are trying to make the ends meet with their measly income.
Yung mga bilihin nagtaasan hindi naman tumataas yung sahod namin.
A bill seeking for a 320 pesos wage hike remains pending in the Congress. Ray Palayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Department of Labor and Employment wants to conduct more studies on the proposed work-from-home scheme after it drew mixed reactions from the stakeholders. Grace Casin tells us why.
Both chambers of Congress have passed the Proposed Telecommuting Act, also known as Work-from-Home Scheme. Under this bill, an employee may arrange a voluntary work schedule from home, but labor standards, benefits, and wages should be followed. Richard Cortez, an IT project manager, might benefit if this bill will be enacted into law. He handles people outside the country and they usually do online meeting.
Meron akong team sa India, so I only meet them remotely through phone or video call. Ako, hindi na ako magta-travel, hindi na ako maipit sa traffic, hindi na ako mamamroblema sa pamasahe or sa parking, sa gas.
The Association of Labor Union or ALO supports the bill to help employees like Richard lessen their daily transport expenses. But the group fears employees might be deprived of having labor union to ask more benefits from employers.
Ang problema nito ay baka tanggalan natin sila ng pagkakataon na mag-organisa bilang union at mag-collectively bargain sa kanilang mga employers.
According to the study of Bureau of Labor Statistics in America, an average worker is only productive for 2 hours and 53 minutes every day. The most popular unproductive activities they do is reading news websites, checking social media, discussing non-work-related things to co-workers, texting, eating snacks, and a lot more. Studies also states that people would be more focused and productive when working from home. But the Employees Confederation of the Philippines or ECOP says the slow internet speed in the country might hamper their monitoring of employees' activities, which might also affect their quality of work.
Mahirap i-monitor yung tao, sasabihin lang ng tao sa iyo mahirap yung signal, hindi mo malaman kung nagtatrabaho o hindi.
The Department of Labor and Employment or DOLE urges Congress to further study the work-from-home scheme to address the concerns of stakeholders.
Mukhang hindi katanggap-tanggap sa mga manggagawa, hindi rin katanggap-tanggap sa management.
Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Provincial buses will no longer be allowed in major areas in EDSA during rush hours beginning July 16. Here's why from Joan Nano.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority is set to implement a policy prohibiting entry of provincial buses in major EDSA areas starting July 15. The MMDA says the measure aims to minimize the volume of vehicles and maintain a light flow of traffic as major road projects of the Department of Public Works and Highways begin.
Magkakaroon tayo ng maraming construction and repair within EDSA. So, particularly yung pipe laying na gagawin dyan sa Shaw Boulevard, sa Service Road, hindi na po namin papayagan yung mga sasakyan na dumaan dyan. Total closure po yan.
The resolution states that provincial buses are not allowed on EDSA from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. and from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. from Mondays to Fridays. Provincial buses coming from south of Luzon may reach up to Pasay City only, while those coming from central and north of Luzon may unload at EDSA Cubao terminals only during window hours of the bus ban. Meanwhile, affected buses will be exempted from the implementation of the number coding scheme. But the Provincial Bus Operators Association are opposing the measure, saying this will only inconvenience passengers, especially those who need to board ferry connection from Batangas and Matnog. The group adds the MMDA should just continue implementing the current number coding scheme, which bars around 1,600 provincial buses from traversing the roads daily.
Kung matutuloy yan, kung halimbawa matutuloy yan, yung pasahero na papunta doon sa Cubao or sa Makati or Ayala in Ortigas, magdadalawang sakay sila. So, katakot-takot na inconvenience at saka additional gastos yan sa pasahero.
The MMDA, however, tells bus operators to plan the time of their trips to follow the new traffic scheme. The agency also targets to submit position paper to provincial bus operators tomorrow. A dry run will also be held next week. MMDA expects that EDSA will be free of around 2,000 buses during the limited hours with the implementation of the bus ban. Violators of the ban will be fined of 2,000 pesos. MMDA will provide alternative routes soon, which will be accessed on their website www.mmda.gov.ph. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Parañaque City.
The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board recognizes 2 drivers during a ceremony this morning. Charlie Barredo tells us why.
The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board praises a taxi driver for returning a passenger's belongings and a Grab driver for saving a passenger's life. At the ceremony this morning, LTFRB Executive Director Attorney Samuel Hardin underscores the 2 drivers as Good Samaritan acts to change public's perception on transport drivers. The chief stresses that not all public transport drivers abuse their passengers and that some are honest in making a living.
We really would like to award goodness, no? Na ang ating mga taxi driver, ang ating mga stakeholders sa public transportation ay mga totoong tao at matulungin.
Taxi driver Rex Mabini returned the cash that amounted to 10,000 pesos, ATM cards, and credit cards left by his passenger. While Grab passenger Arnel Oyardo Lunar saved the life of his passenger who was then suffering a heart attack by rushing her to the hospital. The drivers add they are not expecting any reward from their good acts.
Ay kung ano man bagay ang isinusuli namin, hindi man kami mabigyan ng tunay na may-ari, may nagbibigay na iba sa amin.
Ito, hindi matutumbasan ng halaga. Hanggang buong buhay ko na to. Hindi ko na makakalimutan to.
Charlie Barreto, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
A former Song of Praise finalist will have the chance to compete in ASOP Season 7. Here's why from Aiko Miguel.
Composer Joyner Dizon returns to the stage of a Song of Praise or ASOP songwriting competition with his new entry called Makikita Kita. His new song won this month's weekly elimination.
Makikita kita, o Diyos na dakila.
Dizon was among the ASOP Year 6 Grand Finalists behind the song entitled Sumasamba Sa'yo.
Para ito sa lahat ng mga taong pinili po nila na maglingkod sa Diyos sa buhay na ito sa kabila ng maraming pagsubok, mga kahirapan, dahil taglay sa kanilang puso na isang araw may pag-asang makikita nila ang Diyos.
The song's interpreter, Jerome Abalos, also enjoyed performing the slow rock praise song. Abalos sang the smash hit, Larawang Kupas.
Simple lang siya pero nandun yung impact. Ang hirap gawin nung ganun eh. Ang dami sometimes na kinukompose sa mga dami recopititos, maraming ingredients. But bottom line, wala siyang dating. Pero this song, konti lang yung mga letra pero nandun kagad yung recall and yung essence ng song.
Dizon will have a chance to join this year's Grand Finals if he wins the July monthly finals. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Up next on Y News. Malacanang blasts Communist Party founder Joma Sison for spoiling the peace negotiations. The Armed Forces of the Philippines honors groups including the UNTV dive team that participated in the Philippine Rise Commemoration 2018. And the Ombudsman Graft Busters claim twice to beat Advantage in the off-season playoffs. Thank you for keeping me company in the first part of Y News. More reasons behind the stories with Angelo Castro III and William Thio after this quick break. I'm Rina Villamor Camara. Good evening.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up from where Rina Villamor Camara left off. I'm Angelo Castro III, and here are the headlines. Police consider case of slain Nueva Ecija priest as closed following the arrest of 4 more suspects. Transport groups threaten to hold massive strike before President Duterte's State of the Nation address. And the quo warranto petition filed against President Duterte, far from being favored by the Supreme Court, according to an election law expert. Good evening. The Philippine National Police considers the case on the killing of Nueva Ecija priest Richmond Nilo as closed following the arrest of 4 more suspects. Lea Ilagan tells us why.
The PNP Criminal Investigation and Detection Group operatives in Region 3 nabbed the main suspects in the killing of Nueva Ecija priest Richmond Nilo. PNP CIDG identifies the assailants as Omar Malyari, Manuel Torres, Marius Albis, and Ronaldo Garcia, who are now facing murder charges. CIDG Director Ruel Obusan says they arrested Malyari after tracing his location to Arayat, Pampanga last week.
Meron siyang existing warrant of arrest ng robbery with homicide. Kaya nakuha siya kaagad. Nung siya ay nahuli ng robbery with homicide, kasama na siyempre sa investigation yung death ni Father Nilo.
Authorities add Malyari confessed to receiving 100,000 pesos from Torres, who allegedly ordered to assassinate Nilo. The priest was said to have earned Torres' ire after his nephew Christopher was prevented from being ordained as member of the clergy. Christopher Torres is facing charges for allegedly molesting some altar boys in 2017. Nilo helped the victims in the filing of charges.
Si Manuel Torres, yung tatay po ni Christopher Torres na seminarista na kinasuhan ng molestation and rape ni Father. Pamangkin niya po pamangkin niya si Christopher Torres.
The police now consider Nilo's slay case as closed following the arrest of the primary suspects, though they are still pursuing 4 other suspects. PNP Chief Police Director General Oscar Albayalde meanwhile defends his men who mistakenly arrested Adelrol Milan. He was released from detention following an order from Cabanatuan City RTC.
We didn't say from the very start, nung tinuro nung sakristan, yung si Milan, yun na ang talagang gunman. What is good here is we did not stop with our investigation.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
Malacanang blames Communist Party of the Philippines founder Jose Maria Sison over the postponement of the peace process between the government and the National Democratic Front. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
The government has done its part in continuing the peace negotiations with the National Democratic Front of the Philippines. But Jose Maria Sison, the founder of the Communist Party of the Philippines, is the one who prevents it from pushing through, according to Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque.
Hindi po kasalanan ng gobyerno na hindi natuloy ang peace talks. Si Joma Sison pong umayaw.
The Duterte administration was earlier questioned if the government's postponement of the resumption of peace talks, supposedly on June 28, could have led a misencounter between the military and police in Samar. Sison said in a statement that President Duterte has terminated for several times the peace negotiations between the government and the National Democratic Front peace panels. There was a supposed signing of a stand-down agreement or cessation of hostilities between the armed forces of both camps before the resumption of peace negotiations. Sison also accused Duterte as the biggest spoiler of the GRP-NDF peace negotiations for insisting it to be held in the Philippines. Roque meanwhile tells Sison to come around his threats to oust President Duterte and to return home to see the developments for himself.
Joma Sison, gumising ka na. Managinip ka na. Hindi ka po pwedeng matalsik ng gobyerno habang ikay nasa Europa. Napakatagal mo na dyan, umuwi ka rito. At ikaw ay babuhay dito sa Pilipinas. Ang makikita mo, iba ng kondisyon. Yung mga pinapanaginip mo hindi na mangyayari. Napakaganda na ng ekonomiya ng bansa. Bagamat meron pa rin kahirapan, napakadami nang nakaahon sa hirap. Palibasa, napakatagal mo dyan nagpapasasa sa ibang lugar. Hindi mo na alam kung anong kondisyon dito sa Pilipinas.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Several transport groups are threatening to mount a nationwide strike if President Rodrigo Duterte fails to meet them before the State of the Nation address. Monokson tells us why.
The Alliance of Concerned Transport Operators, or ACTO, is preparing to launch a massive strike if President Rodrigo Duterte fails to meet with the transport sector before his third State of the Nation address on July 23. ACTO President Efren De Luna says they wish to discuss with the President the implementation of Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program.
Hindi lamang to mga jeepney, kundi haluan din to ng mga UB Express. At yung ibang UB Express naman, ang mangyayari, bukod na sa mag-i-strike, yung simula dito sa South, Northwest at saka pupunta sila sa dito sa Metro Manila, sabay-sabay.
De Luna insists the program is anti-poor because most transport drivers and operators cannot afford to buy new vehicle units that are compliant to government standards.
Ay nakakatakot at kailangan magkaroon talaga ng tunay na programa at kasama kami doon sa programa. Hindi yung inihayin na lamang ng gobyerno. Kasi phase out para sa amin to papatungo.
Some operators also have a hard time in securing loans to avail of the modernized vehicles due to a long list of requirements.
Gaya po namin, hindi po kami membro ng kooperatiba. Napakahirap sa amin para kumuha ng bagong unit ng sasakyan.
Napakahirap sir kasi unang-una yung mga operator kasi ngayon, hindi sila nakakaipon ng pera.
But according to Transportation Undersecretary Tim Orbos, the modernization program is actually for the poor jeepney operators. He adds, operators were required to join cooperatives to save money on costly maintenance works when they acquire brand new vehicles.
Ang rason naman natin dyan, dapat grupo sila, no? Ang rason naman natin dyan, kasi mas bababa yung cost ng maintenance ng operations. At the same time, that will equate into a cheaper or more efficient service sa ating mga commuters kung magkakasama sila.
Orbos says the government is willing to have a dialogue with the transport groups to address their concerns. He also invites those with concerns and queries on the modernization program to visit DOTR's one-stop shop on July 6, 13, 20, and 27 at the Columbia Tower in Ortigas Avenue, Mandaluyong City. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
An election law expert believes there is a slim possibility for the Supreme Court to grant the quo warranto petition filed against President Rodrigo Duterte. May Bermudez tells us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte is currently facing a quo warranto petition before the Supreme Court filed by suspended lawyer Eli Pamatong. Pamatong cites in his 23-page appeal the COMELEC and bank's non-approval of Duterte's certificate of candidacy even as it reached the election day on May 9, 2016. He also underlines Duterte's withdrawal as Davao mayor candidate and being a substitute of now DILG Undersecretary Martin Dino as a clear violation of the law. But according to election law expert attorney George Erwin Garcia, the Supreme Court is unlikely to rule in favor of the petition against Duterte. He explains this process may only be used against the president 10 days after his proclamation.
Naniniwala ko eventually i-dismiss ng SC pero siyempre naroon naman part ng due process.
The president is now on his second term and is set to give his third State of the Nation address on July 23.
Sa rules ng Presidential Electoral Tribunal, ang quo warranto can only be filed. Sabi na natin i-defect yung kanilang substitution, i-defect ng mga palitan, pero hindi mo na siya pwede ma-question beyond the period. Kung nakakakalit sa PET, ang hindi 30 days, 15 days din.
According to sources of UNTV News and Rescue Team, SC magistrates have agreed during the ANBank session last week to order Duterte to comment on Pamatong's petition. Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque meanwhile assures they will abide with the court's order. COMELEC, however, refuses to comment on the issue and Duterte's filing of his COC. May Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Commission on Elections reminds voters to complete their biometrics when they register for the 2019 national and local elections. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
Commission on Elections field offices have begun receiving registration applications for the 2019 national and local elections. COMELEC reminds voters, especially first-timers, to ensure their information and complete their names when filling out their biodata. But most importantly, COMELEC Director and spokesperson James Jimenez advises voters to accomplish the biometrics to be completely registered.
Very important, kailangan kayo magpa-biometrics. Meron tayong mga kababayan na dahil mahaba pila or naulan, pinagpapabukas yung biometrics. Tandaan ninyo, pag hindi kayo nakapagpa-biometrics, hindi kumpleto yung inyong pagre-rehistro.
COMELEC will also use as basis the biometrics of a voter to verify a voter's legitimacy.
Yung biometrics po, ayan yung lilitratuhan kayo, kukunan ng digital image yung inyong fingerprint, and then pipirma kayo sa isang pressure pad para makuha natin yung digital image ng inyong pirma. Mahalaga yan. Yan ang ginagamit ng COMELEC para masiguro na iisa ka lang tao na ikaw sa ating database na hindi pwedeng gayahin yung pangalan mo, hindi ka pwedeng magkaroon ng maraming rehistro. In other words, parang sigurong malinis ang ating list of voters.
COMELEC is confident that voters will be compliant on the scheduled voters registration, which will last until September 29, 2018. Their offices are open from 8 a.m. to 5 in the afternoon. Meanwhile, Jimenez announces that voters' ID will no longer be required during elections, since the printing and issuance was suspended since 2012. Thousands of voters' ID remain unclaimed in COMELEC field offices until now. This is a part of COMELEC's compliance with Congress bill to implement a national ID system. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Supreme Court Administrator Jose Maidas Marquez is facing graft charges before the Ombudsman over the alleged anomalous World Bank project. But Marquez just downplays the complaint as a recycled issue. Robbie de Guzman tells us why.
A private citizen files on Monday a graft complaint against Supreme Court Administrator Jose Maidas Marquez over the alleged anomalous implementation of the $21.9 million World Bank Judicial Reform Support Project. Complainant Riza Joy R.J. Lorea of the United Youth for Social Change accuses Marquez of violating the Republic Act No. 3019 or the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act and Code of Conduct. She claims to hold documents supporting her allegations that the amount supposedly allotted to judicial reform was used in goodwill gains, allowances, travel, and other expenses.
Ang pondo ay hindi po nagamit ng maayos. May mga questionable expenditures na hindi naman po kasama dun sa kontrata na nagkakahalaga po ng $100,000. So, ito po ay pinare-refund ng World Bank. So ito po ay nagkaladkad sa ating Korte Suprema sa kahihiyan.
The complaint was filed amid Marquez's inclusion in the Judicial and Bar Council's shortlist for the next SC Justice to replace Associate Justice Presbitero Velasco, who is set to retire in August.
That's why we opposed, because we don't want him to go further in Supreme Court. Dahil questionable nga ang kanyang integrity as to be a Associate Justice. So, pauupuin pa ba natin siya?
In a text message, Marquez denied involvement in the project. He also downplayed the complaint as a recycled issue, citing JBC's dismissal of the charges when it scrutinized his application. The issue first surfaced in December 2011 during the impeachment proceedings against the late former Chief Justice Renato Corona, but was not proven. Robbie de Guzman, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines honor several civilian groups and scuba divers, including the UNTV dive team during a gathering at Camp Aguinaldo. Victor Cosare tells us why.
The Philippine Armed Forces on Friday honored some groups and gave commemorative coins to 120 divers who participated in the flag hoisting event in the Philippine Rise in May. The UNTV dive team was among those who were invited by the AFP to join the historical event for the second time. The team also served as the official video documentation group. According to Lieutenant General Emmanuel Bautista, the chief of the AFP's Northern Luzon Command, the event shows solidarity between civilians and uniformed personnel in asserting sovereignty over the said territory.
There's no other kind gesture to give back to our partners what they have given to us, to our country and to the Filipino people.
Luis Heredia, one of the hosts of UNTV's The Dive PH, meanwhile expresses gratitude for the opportunity to join the flag hoisting even if he is a foreigner. Heredia is an Argentinian dive instructor and also a marine biologist.
I felt like at home, I tell you. And it's a big honor because I was the only foreigner in all the operation.
While according to PBA Party List Representative Jericho Nograles, who also witnessed the event, the Congress should support the armed forces in protecting the country's domain.
By way of giving additional budget po sa ating armed forces of the Philippines, hindi lamang sa modernization but also in programs na bibigyan ng opportunity ang mga civilians to participate.
It was in 2012 when the United Nations granted the Philippines claim of the Benham Rice. It was officially called as Philippine Rice in 2017 after President Rodrigo Duterte signed the proclamation. Aside from the Philippine Rice, similar flag hoisting events will also be conducted in several islands in the country to assert our sovereign rights. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Ombudsman Graftbusters gained twice-to-beat advantage in the playoffs of the UNTV Cup off-season executive face-off, while DOJ Justice Boosters remain in high spirits despite failing in its campaign to reach the finals. Bernard Dadis tells us why.
Ombudsman Graftbusters claimed twice-to-beat advantage in the off-season playoffs after narrowly routing Judiciary Magis 55-54 in a cardiac game yesterday at the Pasig City Sports Center. The victory allows the Ombudsman to keep its top 2 spot, while Judiciary fell to the 3rd place, sharing it with Senate Sentinels, which is currently holding 4-2 win-loss record. Jordi Espinal and Armando Sanchez are the best players of the game, finishing combined 36 points to jack up score after key player director Nicky Laure was forced to step back during first quarter due to an injury.
You know naman na si Nicky talaga si Director Laure yung talagang bubuhat sa opensa namin. So, as I said do sa first half, sabi ko wag natin sayangin ginawa ni Nicky. Let's offer this game to him.
Off-season reigning champion AFP Cavaliers finally claimed its first win by ending GSIS Thunder Fury's campaign in the league 92-55. Lieutenant Colonel Egbert Jonathan Abutin and Lieutenant Colonel Julius Cesar Paulos tandem lifted the AFP with 17 points, claiming Best Players title. The Cavaliers has 1-5 win-loss record and still has 1 elimination game to play. DOJ Justice Boosters, on the other hand, crashed out for the rest of the off-season, but they remain in high spirits. Head coach Noli Mejo explains they were able to defeat Malacanang PSC Camao in their last elimination match, 85-81, before finally bidding farewell to the game.
Instruction ko sa kanila is kailangan pa rin manalo doon sa last game namin para maganda yung kalalabasan ng game namin.
Hindi sabihin dahil hindi ka na magko-qualify, hindi ka na maglalaro na maayos. We have to give it our all.
Attorney Nonilon Tagalico and Attorney Charlie Guhit are the best players for bucketing respective 22 and 14 points. Camao's main gunner, Special Assistant to the President Christopher Bongo, meanwhile bristles with 41 points, including 9 from the Rainbow Country.
Congratulations po sa DOJ. Ang ganda ng laban, at least palitan yung lamang pero breaks of the game napunta po sa kanila.
Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
And for the news abroad, here's Noel Poliarco live from Toronto, Canada. Noel, good evening.
Thank you, William, and good evening. Mexico's leftist Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador said he will seek reconciliation among all Mexicans while vowing not to confiscate property after a landslide presidential election victory on Sunday. The 64-year-old, who will become the first leftist leader in decades in Latin America's second-largest economy, promised in a speech there will be business freedom, freedom of expression, of association of beliefs. However, he reiterated a campaign promise to revise energy contracts issued to companies by the current administration for signs of corruption, warning that anomalies would be addressed by Congress and taken to national and international tribunals. U.S. President Donald Trump congratulated Lopez Obrador and said in a tweet, "There is much to be done that will benefit both the United States and Mexico." Canada's countermeasures against the Trump administration's steel and aluminum levies have come into effect. On Sunday, the day the country celebrates its national holiday, Canada imposed a 25% tariff on assorted U.S. metals products. Tariffs of 10% have also been imposed on over 250 other U.S. goods like whiskey and orange juice. Canada-U.S. trade tensions are high amidst the metals levies and North American Free Trade Agreements talks. Police probe links gang war to the death of 11 members of a family found in their home in Delhi, India. While the annual pro-democracy protest in Hong Kong saw one of the lowest turnouts in history. Castro tells us why.
In India, 11 members of a family were found dead in India's capital on Sunday, most of them hanging from the ceiling of their home blindfolded and hands tied behind the back, in a part of the city that was the scene of a gang war just 2 weeks ago. Delhi Police Joint Commissioner Rajesh Khurana says the victims included 4 men and 7 women, including teenagers. He added that preliminary investigations indicated a standard pattern. While all the bodies were blindfolded, one of the bodies was found lying on the floor and the others hanging from a railing attached to the ceiling. One of the neighborhoods had spotted the hanging bodies early in the morning and reported it to the police. In Hong Kong, the annual pro-democracy protest saw one of the lowest turnouts in history as thousands braved sweltering heat to protest against Beijing's tightening grip over the city. Hundreds of police were deployed on Sunday as some demonstrators marched with yellow umbrellas, a symbol of democratic activism in the city. Beijing's refusal to grant full democracy to Hong Kong triggered massive street protests in 2014 and deepened resentment toward China's perceived growing encroachment on the territory, where its influence in nearly every facet of life has increased. In USA, tens of thousands of protesters marched in cities on Saturday to demand the Trump administration reverse an immigration crackdown that has separated children from parents at the U.S.-Mexico border and led to plans for military-run detention camps. In San Francisco, Minnesota, Chicago, and elsewhere, thousands gathered to march at city halls, downtown districts, and federal immigration buildings. Hollywood celebrities joined the rally in Los Angeles, and politicians took to podiums to tell protesters they stood with them in their opposition to Trump's immigration policies. Trump says illegal immigration fosters crime, and he implemented a zero-tolerance policy in May to prosecute all immigrants apprehended for entering illegally. That led to the separation of more than 2,000 children from their parents, causing an outcry in June, even from some allies of the Republican president. Castro, UNTV News on Rescue.
Some experts believe that artificial intelligence systems can help doctors go to more innovations in diagnosing brain tumor complication in China. Nina Pasco tells us why.
An artificial intelligence or AI system scores 2-0 against elite human physicians Saturday in 2 rounds of competitions in diagnosing brain tumors and predicting hematoma expansion in Beijing. In the first round of the competition, the BioMind AI system, developed by the Artificial Intelligence Research Center for Neurological Disorders at the Beijing Tianjin Hospital, and a research team from the Capital Medical University, made correct diagnosis in 87% of 225 cases in about 15 minutes, while a team of 15 senior doctors only achieved 66% accuracy. According to its developers, the AI-assisted diagnosis system studied images of nervous system-related diseases that the Beijing Tianjin Hospital has archived over the past 10 years making it capable of diagnosing common neurological diseases such as meningioma and glioma, with an accuracy rate of over 90%, comparable to that of a senior doctor.
It does not memorize the tumors but extract features of them and study them. When a new tumor is given to it, it will compare the new one with those features and see which type it belongs to, and then make the diagnosis.
In the second round of the competition, the AI gave correct predictions in 83% of brain hematoma expansion cases in 3 minutes, outperforming the 63% accuracy among a group of physicians from renowned hospitals across the country, who spent more than 20 minutes.
Tireless and stable, this tool is capable of bringing an effect to clinical applications no other tools are able to. So I hope through this competition, more clinicians and people can further understand AI.
Experts say that if the AI system is widely applied in the clinic, more doctors will be freed from the heavy workload and devote themselves to more innovative endeavor. The AI system can also help hospitals to improve the diagnostic efficiency and accuracy. Nino Bascon, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Noel Poliarco, reporting live from Toronto, Canada. And those are the reasons behind the news, July 2, 2018. On behalf of Rina Villamor Camara and Angelo Castro III, I'm William Thio. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.